I'm not here to murder. Bend the knee and join me. Or refuse and die.
You need to find a way to make her listen.
Whatever stands in our way, we will defeat it.
Bran saw the Night King and his army marching towards Eastwatch.
Bad things are coming.
Hey guys, Pete here. Okay, this is going to be my Game of Thrones Season 7, Episode 5 trailer breakdown. We did get the official trailer right after the episode, so I'm going to break it down frame by frame. Looks pretty interesting all the way around. Of course, this is going to be spoilery, so don't watch if you don't want to know what's coming up in the next episode. We open with a shot of the battlefield after the Field of Fire 2.0. We see that Daenerys is talking to a group of the soldiers that are left behind after. She says, "I'm not here to murder. Bend the knee and join me, or refuse and die." We see that her choice of words isn't to Tyrion's liking by the look on his face. Still, he's standing by her side though, and this is really a much different tone that we've seen her take in the past. Here, she's not painting herself as some liberating force. She's just pointing out what they've already seen, that she's incredibly powerful with her dragon, and saying that she'll kill anyone who doesn't follow her. We have to imagine that these soldiers will join her ranks as conscripts, but they are very different than her Unsullied and Dothraki in they didn't choose her. We'll talk about that more later, but can't overlook it at this point. We also see that Drogon is alive and well, perhaps a little worse from his shot, getting hurt there. But he does seem to be recovering from his wounds, so nobody has to worry about him dying anytime soon, I would say. We then pan across the battlefield and get a shot of the destruction that's been left behind. Not much will remain of anything there. We can see that much even in this brief shot. We then see Varys and Tyrion talking, and Varys says to Tyrion, "You need to find a way to make her listen." There's no response, but we can hear concern that he has, and we know that this is obviously the same concern that we saw on Tyrion's face just a few moments ago, when he was standing in front of those soldiers. We then see a shot of Daenerys standing in front of the sunset with Drogon. He has his head up, and he looks to be okay. We hear a voiceover from Cersei saying, "Whatever stands in our way, we will defeat it." There's a montage of after we see Daenerys looking like a conqueror in that shot. We see the dragon flying overhead, Jon standing in a field there at Dragonstone seeing Daenerys return, and then we see Drogon land right in front of him. As Cersei finishes what she was saying, we see Qyburn was there. That's who she was talking to, and he nods in agreement. Drogon looks aggressive whenever he's standing in front of Jon with Daenerys on his back, but we don't know how that's going to end up playing out, really, from what we see here. We hear Jon's voice come in. He says that Bran saw the Night King and his army marching towards Eastwatch. And we see that he's in the map room at Dragonstone talking to Daenerys, explaining the situation. So I'm guessing he got a raven from Bran and Winterfell, and he's explaining what's happening up north. We see a cut of ravens taking off from Winterfell. I'm hoping that this is like Bran's little army of ravens to go north, where he's going to spy on everything that's going on up there. We see Bran with his eyes rolled back in his head. We can imagine that he's probably there by the heart tree at Winterfell. Then we see the ravens again swooping down to see the numbers of this gigantic white army that the Night King has. We see what looks like the Night King and his men, the other White Walkers, in the middle of this whole thing. We hear Davos say bad things are coming. And from what we see with the ravens flying overhead, he's not wrong. He's definitely not wrong here. So an interesting trailer with everything that we know is coming from the original trailers and everything else. It was a little confusing as to what would go down in episode 5. We can expect that episode 6 will be the big battle north of the wall that we've seen so many shots of. Being that it's the penultimate episode, that's usually where the big battle happens. And we've had our field of fire at this point, so we're going to see an ice-themed battle north of the wall. Of course, Jon is still in Dragonstone in this trailer. Not sure if he'll stay there for the whole episode of episode 5, but we'll have to wait and see how that all goes down. I think the biggest thing that when you have just watched episode 4 and you're sort of taking everything in, the biggest thing about this trailer is Daenerys there talking to those soldiers. If you remember, she took off and took things into her own hands, doing the fire and blood approach, which she executed pretty well. But this does change the perspective on all these people that she's asking to come into the fold with her. Of course, giving them only the option of dying or fighting, they're going to probably pick fighting. But this is a lot different than whenever she would show up at a city and free the slaves over in Essos. That shot of the destroyed caravan is also very interesting, and I'll talk about this in my other videos about episode 4. But she's really kind of put herself in a position by destroying all of that stuff that was taken away from the farmers in the Reach. Of course, she wanted to win that battle decisively, but to me, it doesn't make a lot of sense that she destroyed all of that food. Now, whether that food would have went to people or to the armies is kind of immaterial since it is gone, but that shot of the battlefield is kind of what we're going to have to expect is going to happen in Westeros at this point. There's going to be a lot of pain and suffering involved with what just went down. Plus, we get at the end, we see that shit is about to start to go off in the north. Winter's coming. I mean, people are in for some bad stuff, as Davos pointed out. Some of the things that we didn't see here, for one, we did not see Jaime, and we don't know what Cersei's talking about there. Some people were worried that Jaime would die because he's wearing armor and he's sinking like a stone at the end of the last episode. I don't think that's the case at all. I don't think he'll die. Bran was there and a lot of other people saw that happen. But where is he? How would he get away? Is he going to be captured? Is that going to be the thing that leads to Cersei's inevitable insanity and trying to get him back? We really don't know. There's nothing here to give us an indication of that. We also don't see any more Winterfell or the North besides what Bran is seeing north of the wall. So we have no clue as to what Arya and Sansa and Littlefinger are up to. But we do see that Bran's on the case. He's looking in on the movements of the Night King. He knows where he's at and where his army looks like. And he is somehow or other communicating with Jon, which most likely they sent a raven. It's interesting to see that Varys and Tyrion are there to hopefully keep Daenerys from going off the chain completely. It's also pretty exciting to see her landing back at Dragonstone with Jon right in front of the dragon. Obviously, we're hoping that the dragons will take to Jon in one way or another and he'll end up being a rider, although I can't say that we see much of that move forward, if at all, here. So yeah, it has the makings of a good episode. It'll be a setup, I'm sure, for Jon heading north, for Cersei making her counter move to what just happened there at the Field of Fire 2.0. So I would say that this didn't really give a lot away, this trailer, but it set a lot of things up. It should be exciting to watch. I'll be making a couple more bonus videos leading up to the episodes like I did last week and the week before. So we'll get into some of these things a little more deeply before episode 5 comes out. Let me know in the comments what you're thinking about, what you think all of this stuff means as far as what's going to happen in episode 5. What did you think was the biggest moment that they revealed here? What do you think is going on in the other parts of the country that we didn't see? And what do you think is going to happen when Drogon lands there right in front of Jon? Do you think we're going to move the Jon Dragon Rider idea ahead at all, or is this just a tease? Make sure you like the video if you enjoyed it. Please subscribe to my channel. I'm doing a full schedule of Game of Thrones videos, so make sure after you subscribe, you hit the notification bell so you can know when they come out. Follow me on Twitter and my other social media accounts to keep up with my other stuff. And thanks for watching. I'll talk to you soon.
I'm not here to murder. Bend the knee and join me. Or refuse and die.
You need to find a way to make her listen.
Whatever stands in our way, we will defeat it.
Bran saw the Night King and his army marching towards Eastwatch.
Bad things are coming.